Hi, I'm Mark Dice, and welcome back to Let's Play LOTR Two Towers. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of ranting. I often have a time to, or have times where I repeat myself extensively or drive the point until it's a dead horse. But that's mostly because, when you talk on, an LP, you're not really talking back to anybody. You're talking out to people, and maybe they'll give you opinions later. So it's kind of weird, and I was thinking about it, and it's almost like how some people seemingly talk to, their God. They just kind of open-endedly talk about something, or hopes or dreams or whatever. So it's hard to get a response or really gauge what's supposed to be happening. Alright, whoa, Jesus. Whoa. So it's hard for me to, gauge at all of the point. Shoo. Ugh, this level is purgatory. At least I'm gaining experience. So it's hard for me to just make sure a point gets across, especially if I don't have reply questions, I guess, or feedback, in a way. At least not, immediately. Stop pot-shotting me right now. Remember that part in Lord of the Rings where Aragorn went around slashing up some crows? So, I don't know. The other thing is it always amazes me, and yeah, sure, this is old-ass news, but, there are all these, bailouts and money changing and people wanting to pump money into companies even if they turn out to be a sham. It's one of those strange things where it's I've been in a lot of companies that went under, and pretty major companies, and it's been upsetting. And it's weird when a company that supports basically almost like slave labor line work where they're manufacturing stuff over what most Americans have, which are office and retail jobs, but office and retail companies go under left and right, and they expect somebody else to open it up. But most of the time, they're more cutthroat. The most cutthroat survive. So it's, I guess in a way, it's kind of depressing to see a company that treats their employees fairly and doesn't expect slave labor and create subpar products goes under, yet companies like Ford that make piece of crap cars and pay people next to nothing to work at their factories, and work long, hard hours, and oftentimes end up losing body parts. It amazes me that people are more willing to put money in these companies that oftentimes farm half their parts from overseas, or their metals from overseas, instead of perfectly valid American mines. And yet, basic domestic labor that might, help a lower income family, even if, it's not much, maybe they become a manager at, a said store, and then end up putting that money into their, children's... Oh my god! Put money into their, kids' college tuition, or the company helps pay for their kids' education, and then that kid might grow up to be something important. And, that's the kind of thing that I think is interesting, that, most people who work factory jobs, from, most of my experience, my mom works for a major manufacturing place, and a lot of the people they get are people who come here from other countries, people of extreme low income, and even when they have these jobs, they can't afford to progress money-wise. Like, the money is good, but it's not good enough to send their kids to college. And most of them can't work for long, especially with, like, the physical labor involved in it, to make it really effective. Plus, they're looking to, you know, constantly let people go so that way they can get cheaper labor, so that way the manufacturing cost gets driven down. And that's a major problem that needs to be addressed. Why, you know, you say that, oh, these retail companies should have been more progressive and they would have done better, when that's not always the case. A lot of times it's these places go under because you have some company that's doing something that, you know, like manufacturing foreign and not giving more jobs to, you know, Americans or whatever, instead, and they're just sending it off to somewhere else where they work like slaves, which is not okay. That's not a good way to do business. But these companies seem to survive and are able to avoid, oh, this is much better, able to avoid, you know, getting in actual trouble. This is going to be frustrating. I'm going to have to throw this thing out. Yes, come on. They're able to kind of skip around the issue and not... Basically, it's like a retail company that might provide better for your economy as a whole die, whereas ones that are probably harmful in the long run to economies end up staying. And it's unfortunate that we seem to be promoting bad business. I mean, come on now, you get companies that get out of, like, monopoly lawsuits and buy their way in and out of state, like, and legal regulations. And you're basically, I don't think any company in America should be allowed to be involved in something that could be, you know, a crime in America. You know, people working, like, factory jobs, working themselves half to death to make almost nothing. And basically, I mean, we learned this lesson in the Industrial Revolution, and we should know better not to have companies be allowed to do this anywhere in the world. Like, as Americans, we should take a responsibility not to do this to other people when we know what effects it has on us. And honestly, if the entire world was in a better state and there was no third world countries, nowhere where people had to worry about clean water, nowhere where people had to worry about the ability to feed their children or have worries about their child, you know, being almost like a slave as they were, then I think things would be a whole lot better. But unfortunately, the world does not work that way. And it's kind of a sad state of affairs, really, that it's come to that. And, okay, I guess we're going over further. In general, like, I think that these people should be held responsible for their actions, and I just don't understand why we slap on the wrist people that are doing the wrong thing, but then harshly incriminate people who are doing the wrong, or harshly incriminate people who are doing the right thing, who may have slipped up on something. Like, I kind of find it amazing the amount of, like, blatant favoritism, I guess. Jesus. He totally, like triple hit me right there. I just find it amazing that we would allow it, and I think that when governments and banks start promoting more and more bad business, it's not good for us, And it has nothing to do with us. I mean, right now, like, American government isn't an ivory tower. And they live in a world that has nothing at all to do with how people live. And they're so out of touch with the reality of the situation that it's astounding that they can even wipe themselves without having to get, like, a Hispanic servant who's an illegal immigrant to wipe for them. And I don't understand why, when we have so many people, you know, out of work and so many people stuck in bad situations, that we aren't doing more to do that. You know, people care more about abortion rights right now than people care about people getting jobs. I mean, it's depressing when I look at, you know, Monster.com and Craigslist and all sorts of other job resources, like even local job resources looking for anything, even on unemployment websites, that there's just nothing. And what it is that half of it is retarded, you know. Oh, we expect you to take minimum wage, we expect you to have a college degree and at least 5 years of experience in this field. Okay, first of all, how are you supposed to get experience if nobody in that field is hiring? I mean, really, that doesn't make any sense. Second off, nobody's going to take minimum wage to do something that they earned a college degree for. That's a fact of life. Get over it. And I think it's this idea that, you know, these companies can be so picky and choosy and, you know, oh, well, we'll get these professionals, we only need like one or two, and then we'll outsource all the foreign labor. And I'm not saying we should, you know, enslave American workers. I'm just saying that there are more than enough people here to fill this, you know, job gap. It's just the problem that they're not here. So, I don't know. I don't understand why we're bailing out companies that support resources that aren't in our own country. I think that's weird. I can't understand it. And I think I'm totally... Oh, I thought I was going the wrong way. But I'm not. Oh, fuck. Oh, he's shooting arrows now? That sucks. Could one of you drop a healing item? That would be great. Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. So... I don't know. I just think that the people who make the laws and have the money have no touch of what's going on. Like, I kind of like that show where they take CEOs and put them on the bottom rung, you know, under cam. But I don't think that in that situation they really, like, they get an idea and then of course they talk to their board and try to do like one nice thing for these people. But they don't understand that these people are stuck in this situation, and it's not an education fault. It's not, you know, oh, they could try harder or whatever. They just don't have the resources that are needed. And, like, when you live in an ivory tower and you don't know what's going on below you, you're completely lost to the idea of what could be out there that might be, you know, better for not only you, but everyone else around you. I think that too many people focus on this, like, kind of short-sighted profit idea from the 80s. Oh, wait, that one's... I think that one's better than the one I have. Oh, no. So... I don't know. I just think that too many people have lost touch with the issues that are actually important. And I think that most media companies like to promote this kind of idea. Like, I watched some of the primaries, and these are people I wouldn't even trust with, like, my toilet paper. Like, let's just put that out there right now. I wouldn't even trust them making me a sandwich. Like, I mean, it seems like they don't even know how to make a sandwich, let alone how to hold it or where to put it or how to safely give it to me. Like, it's amazing. Like, if it didn't cost millions to run for president, I think that a lot more realistic people would get in. And I find it, like, crazy. Like, other countries probably have the impression that we're full of idiots just because we have these kind of people running for office. I mean, there should be some sort of education test for these goddamn people. Like, at least like an episode of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I mean, I'm pretty sure all of them would fail. I mean, it would be like, what is 5 plus 6? The fifth grader gets it immediately. The person's like, well, the answer's convoluted. You see, I always stand by God, and I always try to make sure to focus on the correct answers. And I have to think about this, you know. Like, I've been praying for an answer to this question. And then would just stop talking. And then people would sit there and stare and be like, give me the fucking answer already. And then they just come up with some other, like, skirt away issue instead of being bold and saying what they actually want to say. I mean, half of it is idiocy anyway. I mean, it feels like when Jessica Simpson said that whole chicken of the sea thing, that chicken of the sea wasn't tuna. That's how I feel when anybody who's a potential president speaks. It's amazing, really. And these are the people who are going to decide who gets money and who stays. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, we should ramp up and be political. I'm saying that people have suddenly gone insane. And I don't know why, and I don't know how. I mean, I blame the internet, but clearly the internet is not at fault with this. The internet makes fun of these people. And I won't say it's like mass media or whatever, but there are a lot of, I mean, people pay millions, like, to be on these, you know, presidential debates or whatever, and it's embarrassing. It's like watching an episode of Jersey Shore, or like the friggin' Real Housewives. These people are so out of touch with reality, and they're so focused on small things that they don't even see the bigger picture. I like that little... I'm playing Skyrim. Skyrim DS. But, sweet. Ooh, bronze ring mail. Alright, no. You can get out of my inventory. You can get out of my inventory. You can definitely go. Bronze ring mail? 7443. Finally, a new piece of armor that doesn't suck. +2 courage, that's not bad. I think I'll stick with this. Melee, missile, defense. I don't know. It's just, it amazes me. What are we, in the Shire all of a sudden? Let's go. Let's get the Riders of Rohan. Yeah, I don't care about a short sword. I don't know. I guess I say I shouldn't be surprised by stuff like this, but... Whoa! Easy there, home slice. Alright, let's walk up here. This bush will protect me. Also, I find it astounding that anyone even reads newspapers anymore. I just, whenever I see it, I just see, like, I go to people's houses who read newspapers, like, especially, you know, people's parents, my own mom, you know, so my mom pretty much goes to Google and Yahoo News now instead of actually reading the paper, and she does her New York Times crossword puzzle online, so that way she doesn't have to worry about getting the paper, and it's a lot easier to erase things on it. But anyway, So, oh, Jesus Christ, man. Chill. Just trying to kill you. So, all I see is, like, big piles of paper, and I'm not like, oh my god, the trees, or anything like that. Like, no, paper recycling is stupid, and it doesn't work, and it poisons our planet. So, you know, it's just kind of weird and ridiculous that, like, newspaper companies, like, it took them so long for them even to, like, use the internet. Oh, thanks, Gimli, for finally helping. That, like, by the time they came on, you know, Yahoo and Google had already pretty much monopolized the news industry. So, like, it's like, oh, too little, too late. Like, you think, you know, when considering New York Times has a whole, like, trend section of, like, what's new and happening, you think they would have hopped onto the internet because it would cost them, like, nothing. You know? I don't understand why it's like these media companies, like, completely missed, like, the internet, and now they're all rushing to try to catch up, and you have, like, all these stupid things. Like, I just don't understand why. Like, it's if they had just done the smart decision in the first place, they would have been fine. But for some reason now they're trying, like, you know, larger, like, interests into the internet. And by this point, people already have their sources. They're not going to suddenly change. I mean, the internet is a place where, yes, there's lots of... I think I need more courage. I need to heal myself more frequently. It's a place, essentially, where people who find things, you know, some people always go to Reddit, some people always go to Failblog, some people do both. But, like, if some new upstart one came up, a lot of people wouldn't go to it because they're so used to the old one. I mean, it's the same reason why people are so resistant to Facebook changes or, you know, like, Gmail changes and stuff like that. So, because people get so used to doing a certain thing a certain way on the internet that it's almost, like, ingrained. Whoa. Oh, at least it regenerates a little faster. No! No! Stupid bush, you were supposed to defend me, not kill me. Shut the hell up, Legolas. Nobody cares about you. I don't know, and I feel like if you're going to have yourself on the internet, you might as well at least be good at what you're doing. And it is kind of funny that most people have already found something that's better. And if you try to go on, like, you know, NewYorkTimes.com and stuff like that, it's a freaking pain in the ass. I mean, I don't really care much for newspapers, but, like, I just feel like it's such a dirty mess to have all those damn papers lying around. And then on top of that, other than their crossword puzzle, their internet or their webpage is freaking horrible to navigate. Let alone, they don't even, like, use other functions. Like how, like, Google News has all these different, like, functions and filters and stuff you can go through in order to get the news you really care about. I should have saved that for this butthole. Haha. Face my wrath. I don't know. I also feel like if, like, companies and manufacturing jobs... Alright, just run. If, like, big companies and manufacturing jobs found a way to create a video game that would allow you to do real-world work by, you know, playing, say, an MMO game, and then, you know, would pay them based on it, it really wouldn't be that hard, especially for, like, a factory job if they needed to somewhat automate something. You could literally just have someone in a place, and every time, you know, they do a function, it would do a function in the real world. And then, voila, you'd have people staying up 18 hours of work a day as long as you paid for Cheetos and Mountain Dew and rent and internet. Like, I don't understand why it's like such a, you know what, shields aren't worth dick. It would just make more sense. I mean, I'm sure there's more than enough jobs. Even if you had like a deal with like World of Warcraft where you could, where you could, you know, like type one data to another data, like another format, even if it was like coding format, and if you did that, you would get like, you know, 1 gold in World of Warcraft. Guaranteed, you'd suddenly have massive amounts of work done, and people would be like flooding to do it. And, you know, like, you could have literally a fleet of people who basically play a game that would do certain manufacturing features, and they get bonuses in game. And suddenly, you would be getting half of your work for next to nothing. I mean, as long as, like, if you paid for people's, like, rent and their basic needs, like food and stuff like that, even if it was like a bare minimum, these people would just spend all their time playing games and doing that. And that way, you would get what you want, they would get what they want, and everybody would be happy. You'd have business into a company, plus you'd have people doing work for another company. So that way, the people working on the game would have a reason to keep working, and plus they'd probably get a kickback from the company because of how much money they've saved. So, I just think it's kind of crazy that we don't figure out a system, or that somebody hasn't exploited this yet. And that way it's not really a cruel exploit. Like, I'm pretty sure if you had some way of transferring work that way, there would be people lining up to do it. I mean, if you think the wealth of people who write wikis for World of Warcraft, if you could harness their power into something helpful, like, even if it was like, help us complete a help, you know, these people write out each segment of, you know, these protein sequences. Here's your coded data. Search and find for it. Win prizes. Like, even that small amount of work people would do just to get something, if you gave them some, like, moderate item. There would be people who would farm it all day. They would just sit there. Yep. I've done like 800 TPS reports this morning. No big deal. I mean, people who play online games and people on the internet are not stupid. I mean, honestly, you could put up, you know, equations to something, or like programming logs to help people, you know, help your company with a program, and then, like, say, you know, for whatever, like a point of sale or something, and as long as you put it up there, people could do it and help start. Whoa, you're a different color. I don't like that. That probably means you're more dangerous. Whoa, yeah, definitely more dangerous. Alright, I'm gonna slowly lure you away from your little party you've got going on over there. Hoods are garbage. Let's look. I mean, even something simple like that would probably, you know, work better for you. I don't understand why people do it. I'm keeping the green stuff because I have a feeling that that's, like, rare stuff. That's garbage. This, however, might not be. 3 to 7 plus 2 courage. 5 to 11. I mean, 2 courage is not that big of a deal. So screw that, I'll just sell that later. If I ever find a friggin' shrine or a shop. Windows, please stop doing this. But I don't know, it takes creative minds to figure out how the logistics of something like that would work. I mean, hell, you could even post like a thread on an MMO to start working towards stuff like this. I mean, of course, you wouldn't use vulnerable data because that'd be terrible. Having them do like banking transmissions and they end up stealing money and pumping it into like freaking in-game money gift cards. But I mean, you already have these people, in a sense, addicted to something, which really isn't that far off from people addicted to opium who built railroads and stuff like that. Which, yes, was cruel, but, I mean, those people probably enjoyed it and were probably happy with the deal. So, really, I don't understand. Like, there have been a few that have tried to, like, get good ideas from gamers, but, like, again, I think it's, like, too much from the outside in. Like, you know, it's like friggin' fail blog with their stupid, like, help promote the new Prius. Nobody gives a shit about your car. Or, like, you know, help promote this terrible movie, Zookeeper. Nobody cared about those, and they were stupid, and you can't force a meme. So, don't do that. You just look like an idiot. And I understand that's their way of trying to get in touch and get, essentially, free promotion. But, and I'm pretty sure Failblog got a lot of money for it. But, uh-oh, spooky music here. But, I think that you kind of need somebody who knows what they're doing and has the right touch to do something like that. Because it seems like an old man, like, being like, oh, disco dancing, yes? As opposed to, like, something a little more naturalistic. Must get the fruit. Please don't kill me before I gather the fruit. Tumty tumty tum. Oh, this is getting worse. So, I don't know, I guess that's, like, there's, like, these, you know, think of ideas MMOs that were, like, cool and creative for an idea, but the problem is that most of them weren't that fun. And, like, fun is a big thing. If you're doing anything and it's fun, you won't notice how much time you've spent on it. Like, I've probably already spent 3 hours on this game or so. And it's been more entertaining, and it seemed like it's only been like maybe 10-15 minutes, for me at least. So, but like if I go into work, half of the time I'm standing there waiting for customers to get in, and then when they come in I have to bombard them with information, and then that's it. Then it's like either they do or they don't. So really my information doesn't matter to them at all. And it's just like, it's the same kind of thing. It's like you build these, you know, MMOs looking for good ideas from, you know, the mind of the internet, and half the time they're like, nah, don't care. Like, you kind of need to lure them in with, like, honey, you know, and say, like, okay, well, guess what you get if you help out. It's also, like, I really hate that people seem to, like, especially companies, like, goddamn GameStop, man. I went to GameStop the other day and got, like, gift cards for Ragnarok, because we wanted to participate in a special event. And those guys were, like, pushing everything, man. It was like, like, they would not drop anything. And then they pretty much, like, forced me to take one of their stupid cards. And, of course, like, they won't let you finish a transaction until you give them an email address. And I did. Because I friggin' wanted to get those gift cards and get the hell out of there. And, yeah, you're vulnerable there. And I gave them an email address, and the first thing they did was send me, like, a rude-ass email. It's like, because they're like, oh, you need to fill out your card online and do this and this. No, I'm not taking extra effort to do what you guys want. Like, I don't care about your card. I rarely shop at GameStop. The only reason I did was for a specific type of gift card. And, like, I'm getting, like, bombarded, and they're like, they send me an email that's like, oh, like, did you notice you forgot something? Listen, asshole. If I really cared that much, I would have just gone right home and did it. Don't send me emails telling me what I should be doing. If I want to sign up for your stupid card, I'll sign up for your stupid card. But don't force the issue, then you're just being a jackass. And, no, I want those gems, damn it. Stop killing me and let me steal those gems. No, you're an ass. You stood right on them. I just don't think that, like, spamming people is going to make people buy your service or like your service. Frankly, I prefer, like, more passive services. Like, YouTube sends me a digest. I delete it every time because I go to my subscriptions enough. Like, I don't need a reminder. Like, but they don't send me one, like, every freaking other day. So far, I've gotten 4 emails from GameStop telling me that I forgot to sign up for my card. I don't care. Like, honestly, at this point, I don't buy many console games, and there's a very good reason for that. Like, the last game I actually bought was freaking Skylanders and Skyrim. Both Sky games. Kind of weird. But, anyway, screw you. So, what do I care? Like, I know that they're probably hurting even more because most people can't afford games. But I can get games cheaper and better elsewhere. In fact, I would rather buy my games from this guy who... He has this awesome toy store that sells, like, old video games and old toys and stuff. He has, like, whole sets of, like, the 70s, 80s Dune toys. Like, the huge sandworm toy. I remember having that when I was a kid. And then, like, he has, like, old He-Man action figures and, like, old Magic cards. And, like, he basically has, like, almost like a pawn shop for old, cool, collectible stuff. And he has old, like, PS2 video games and, like, PS1 video games, like, GBA games and stuff like that. And, like, sells them for, like, a decent value where it's, like, not extortion, but it's also not, like, most of the time he wants you to trade in for credit. And that's, like, understandable. He's trying to make some money, but he's not, like, greedy about it. And plus, like, you could probably get something really cool. So I'm fine with that. But, like, if I went in and traded my games at, like, GameStop, they'd be looking at the bottom line, and that's it. And I know that guy's kind of looking at the bottom line, but, like, it's different in a sense because, you know, I could trade him, like, you know, 5 PS2 games, which GameStop would be like, we'll give you $0.25 for each of them, and then leave the store with nothing, and I'd feel like I got ripped off. Or I could go to that guy and probably trade him a couple of PS2 games and maybe just swap them out for another PS2 game. Like, the kind of thing where it's like, oh, I'm giving him 2, but I'm getting 1 that I really want, is a much better approach than saying, like, you give us 100 and maybe you'll get 1. Like, I don't know. I mean, I understand that, like, games devaluate, and he probably doesn't make much money on the deal. But he does make money. He makes money on other collectibles. So, like, that, like, part of his store is less, like, valuable for him, essentially. So, it's not a big a loss for him, but GameStop, that's their only business. So, it's kind of like, eh. It's kind of, like, frustrating to deal with that. It's the same one I got, right? Mine's better. But I feel like that's like a more legit trade. Like, even at flea markets and stuff, I'd rather buy video games than buy them from GameStop. I mean, I've gotten enough dud games from it. And it's not like I hate GameStop, don't get me wrong. It's just... It's so, like, cutthroat corporate. And I know how much the people behind the counter make, and how, like, basically the only reason they still work there is because they sell. And I don't know. It bothers me. No. I want you to discard that. So, I don't know. And I hate when people use the internet to basically, like, spam me. Like, Publix. Local supermarket. They're pretty damn awesome because they ask for an email address that you don't have to give.
But if you give them your email address, they'll send you coupons. And the best part is that they look at what you buy or what you might like to buy and then give you coupons based on that. It's not just what the manufacturer says. It's, oh, we see that you buy a lot of baby carrots. Here's a 25% or 25 cents off baby carrots. It's not much, but it's fine. And I don't have to go through all the printing it out and all that kind of nutsy stuff. As long as I go in there and, like, you know, I have it clicked, I can always put something in and get it. Like, not a big deal. Like, it doesn't, like, bother me that they do that. Like, oh, that's nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, I won't be able to survive without these shoes. Yeah, that's a lot better. But, like, that's responsible internet use for a company. And, like, they'll send, like, you know, a little recipe with it to, like, sell featured sale items. So that way you're like, well, I wouldn't really want to buy that. Like, but, oh, look, this recipe looks pretty good. So I wouldn't normally buy this stuff, but since they suggested this recipe, I'll do it. And that's how you use the internet responsibly as a company. And I think too many companies use it irresponsibly and don't. I think they just don't know how it works or how you. I want to say hook people, but more how you get people's interest. And I pay no attention to spam. I pay no attention whatsoever to, like, what I'm putting. Actually, maybe I should put up accuracy so he actually hits. I'll put up strength. Maybe I can. Yeah. Should I just put that at 33? We'll put health up. I guess 32. There we go. So, in a way, it's kind of nice to have, like, a company that it's not like they seem like they care. They're just generic. They put out their message and they say, take it or leave it. They don't say, like, oh my gods, you forgot to get this. You better rush over to get it right now. Because I'll tell you what, most people I know do not like that shit at all. They get annoyed by, like, constantly asking for this, constantly asking for that. That's why I hate giving out my email address, because 9 times out of 10, it's a problem. But the best part is I have a report spam button. Like, you know, that's it. And anyway, I mean, I would never trade away my games unless I was getting, like, a fair deal. Like, I love video games, and I don't just, like, hand them out to people. I did that once, and it never came back, so. But I don't know. As for anything, it's this fine line where I think companies are like, oh, we can just use this resource. We can get a Twitter and just spam you. Like, honestly, my favorite thing to read in terms of spam, like what is essentially what would be considered like a spamming email, is the stuff that Atlas sends to me. Sure, they promote their games, but oftentimes they put a little comic strip in or something humorous, or like they talk about a promotion and stuff like that. And they do promote their other stuff, like their Twitter and stuff, but like it's not like harassing. Like, you know, maybe once every 2 weeks I get an email saying like, oh, check this out, like King of Fighters 13 is out, go check it out. Like, you know, it's much more interesting to read an email like that than it is like, you have to buy your copy today or else you'll never get it and you'll be a sad, pathetic loser. Like, they had an announcement for, you know, Catherine being downloadable, which I really want to get, but like none of it was like oh my god, buys it now. Yeah, I don't care. Oh. I need a shrine or something to hawk all my crap at. So, I don't know. If companies start using the internet responsibly and using it for what, you know, human beings would do, like to each other, I think that would be fine. But I think because 9 times out of 10, they're more looking at like bottom dollar, looking at like the same thing when you go into a retail store and they're like, "Have you tried out our new discount?" Blah, 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 blah. Shut the hell up. Like, I hate eating out at a lot of restaurants because they always do that. You guys should try our new Apple Blossom Teeny. It's absolutely amazing. We have a brand new super special Friday kicker. It's only $11.99 and you get a piece of shrimp and a tiny little burnt sandwich. And don't worry if the meat's expired. But, we had a surplus of this pasta because everybody thinks it tastes like butt. Now it's on sale. But, I don't know. I think it's a lot better when you're not forceful and you're not outright being like, yeah, you need to buy this right now. And in general, not being like a douchebag about it. Like, yes, you have a product or service and you're interested in getting it sold. That's the stupidest weapon I've ever seen. Is that a leaf sword? So, I don't know. Oh, finally. Wrong button. Derp. Right, yeah, that's so good. Yeah, armor is definitely the way to sell. Yeah, more damage. Take you down. They need a defensive one. Yeah, I can actually stand up to these guys now. What the hell is that? I don't know. So... what the hell is that thing? Well, anyway, I don't know. I always feel like the people who are on the internet know what they're doing, but whenever anybody else tries to get involved, it's usually kind of embarrassing. I think we'll leave it on this note. That's all for Let's Play Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, with me, Mark Dias. See you later!